so if you all are up for it tonight, I'm going to go through some of the comics in my collection and talk about them a little bit and chat. Just nice, chill out. If anyone's got questions or anything, and obviously we can talk about other stuff as it goes on as well. As you can see, I'm easy ozy tonight. I'm just chatting. Yeah, just looking for a nice, fun night tonight. Honestly, this is nice. Like, even I've changed the light and I've took my main light off and I've put on a low lighting and stuff just to make it a nice, chill night tonight. It's calm. I know I've said that like 50 times, but you know, I'm trying to at least convince myself of that, if nothing else. I don't know if it's working, but I'm at least trying to convince myself of that. I wanted to start off actually, as most of you know if you've seen on social media or seen on our Discord or anything like that. It was my birthday last week. So yeah, birthdays, at least within our house, like birthdays between my wife and I have kind of became a thing that's optional to buy gifts for, because like with how much money we have or don't have and 3 kids, it's like yeah, we'll say happy birthday. That's about it. We're not getting major presents or anything like that. But I got blessed by some other family members of some money to spoil myself, and so I did something I don't usually get the chance to do. I went and bought a bunch of graphic novels online. I went to Amazon, looked at a bunch I wanted to get. Well, actually, first I went to the OZ Kickstarter that we were talking about, which, by the way, we still have the link for it there, so you can go ahead and check it out yourself on the page there if you still want to back it. I think he's now at like 450% backed or something. It's something crazy like that. Let me click on it and check. Actually, I'm honestly kind of curious. Yeah, it's like 684 backers at like $27,000 at this point. Like, it's insane, and it's been up for a week. So first of all, with that extra money, with the first bit of money I got, I'd actually put in a backing for the Kickstarter to get the physical copy of issue 2. And then with a little bit extra money I got, I actually went ahead and upped the amount so that I could get the variant covers, because there's variant covers for issue 2. There's like 3 variants now, which are all absolutely stunning. So that was the first thing I did, was go and grab those. Because, like, you know what, if I'm going in for it, might as well. I like getting variant covers. I like getting, you know, when I'm getting comics, like if it's for a story purpose, I like to get the graphic novel usually, or the trade paperback, the full thing. When I'm collecting comics, it's either something that's special to me, it's something that I think could be valuable, or it's at least important enough to try and pick up, or it's something that I absolutely adore the artwork of. So I absolutely 100% went all in for the variants of it, because some of them are just stunning. So that was the first place some of that money went. But then I went and bought some trade paperbacks. Well, let me share some with you. Some of these are probably going to end up appearing on our indie comic book club at some point as well. Just because they'll be interesting ones to check out. Seals says, respond to Jay. It's like, yeah, I worked at my college's library. They were getting rid of some books. Let's just say I have a lot of old library books on my shelf. Just can't resist a good deal. Don't blame you. So the first one I picked up was Lock and Key Volume 2. Name of it is Head Games. If you have been following us through our Indie Comic Book Club, the very first Indie Comic Book Club we did last October, and also our Halloween one for that year, was Lock and Key Volume 1. So picked up Lock and Key Volume 2. Very excited to delve into this. I absolutely adore the story of Lock and Key. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Lock and Key is a very short series compared to some. It's only like 6 volumes to it. So I'm very excited to go and check it out, see where the story ends up going, and see where it picks up from the last one. So that's definitely one I'm going to be checking out. And honestly, if we start doing any sequels to stuff on Indie Comic Book Club, it's probably going to be the first one we end up doing sequel wise. The next one I picked up is, it's just one that's intrigued me. It's from a guy who's usually known for his artwork, Scotty Young. Honestly, he's probably most well known for the Marvel like baby variant cover stuff. But he did a little bit of a interesting graphic novel that came out called I Hate Fairyland. Definitely more adult content. Hey, Order of the Za, thank you so much for that host. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. So I picked up I Hate Fairyland. This is definitely more of an adult take, just but the violence that's in it. There's no like nudity, no cussing, anything like that. But big thanks to you for you're the reason I found Lock and Key. Absolutely, ads. Well, that was like one of the reasons that we started doing like the indie comic book club, was because most people that read comics read Marvel and DC. They read the big superhero comics, but it's like, if that's the only comics you read, there are so many amazing comics out there that you're missing out on. And I had just started getting into the indie stuff and starting getting into some of these other stories, and I'm like, well, here's a great opportunity for me to delve into this world and see what's out there, and also share it with everybody. So I'm glad you enjoyed the Lock and Key one. Hey, or does that? It has been a while. Good to see you. Doing absolutely good. How are you doing, man? How you doing, MX? Good to see you in here. So the story for like I Hate Fairyland is following our main character. I think it's Gertrude, if I'm trying to remember correctly. One I've obviously not read it. Yes, Gertrude, or Gert as she starts going by, is a young girl that basically a door opens up. Thank you for doing the shout out for that, Nigel. I appreciate it. Basically a doorway opens up, taking her to Fairyland. So she goes on a journey into Fairyland, and she's meant to, like, you know, go on a journey and discover something, and it's meant to take her like a day. It's meant to literally be like a day journey in there. And the next page it cuts to 27 years later. This girl has been stuck in Fairyland for 27 years, and she doesn't know how to get out of there, and has essentially became one of the villains of this book. She hates Fairyland, she hates being there, she hates everything about it, and basically starts massacring the people of this world. She has had enough of it, and she just basically goes off on it. So you've got this attitude of like this, almost like attitude of a grumpy teenager that's been alive for like 30 plus years at this point, but is still in the body of a little girl, like going through this world of Fairyland and just kind of done with everything. She's done with the charm, she's done with the whimsy, she's done with all of that, and it's just, no, we're not doing this anymore. So it's one that really caught my eye. It's one I'm definitely excited to check out, and it might honestly be one we end up doing on Indie Comic Book Club if we have a look into it. And then, okay, maybe moving to Tennessee soon. Oh, what's inspiring the move to Tennessee, if you don't mind me asking, MX? Awesome. If anyone's not following MX, go and drop the guy a follow. He is 11 away from 100 followers. He's a friend of ours. Go and show him some love. Get him to 100 followers if you can, if you're not already checking him out. So the next one I picked up is called 7 Secrets. This is like the one we will be doing on Indie Comic Book Club, and this is from like my favourite writer in the world. I mentioned him yesterday if you're watching the podcast, Tom Taylor. Like, legitimately, if Tom Taylor writes something, I'm going to pick it up. I have yet to pick up anything from the man that has been bad, that has been awful. I don't even fully know what this story's about. I just know it's by Tom Taylor. It's one of his indie works. It's one of his creator-owned works at Boom Studios, and I'm all for it. On the back, it's like, it sounds, you know, very similar to some other stuff that's out there. You know, for centuries the Order has trusted in keepers and holders to guard the secret in 7 briefcases against all harm. But when their stronghold is attacked and the secret's put in peril, the entire Order must face their greatest fear, an enemy who knows too much and is willing to kill to get what he wants. Now the Order's newest member, Casper, must discover the truth of the secrets before the enemy does, or risk losing everything. So I mean, in all honesty, it's a very generic sounding story. We've heard it plenty of times from comics, from movies, from everything. It's usually good for a little bit of a, you know, it's an enjoyable story. It's something I could definitely sit down and enjoy just from the premise of it. But the fact that it's Tom Taylor that's writing it, like, I am all in. I cannot stress enough how much I love this man's writing, and how much I'm excited to check it out, just surely because it's him. The artwork looks good, the story's intriguing enough, it doesn't sound absolutely horrible. So like that's going to be one. I'll keep you updated on that one and let you know. If it turns out to be a really good one, then we probably will do it on Indie Comic Book Club. I'm doing a giveaway for a game if you're choosing once I hit triple digits. Nice, but there you go. Even more reason to go and drop him a follow and get him up to 100. Go and check out MX, go and drop him a follow, show him some love for that. The next one I picked up with some of my birthday cash was Umbrella Academy Volume 3 Hotel Oblivion. I've been singing the praises of Umbrella Academy since like day one I found out it was a thing. I only found out about it once I heard it was announced that it was coming to Netflix, so I went and checked out the comics, and I absolutely adore them. It is an amazing, bizarre, twisted world based around superheroes. I absolutely adore the original stories, I adore the TV show, so I'm so excited. I've not read any of this volume yet, so I'm very excited to delve into this. Umbrella Academy will definitely be appearing on Indie Comic Book Club, if not by the end of the year, the start of next year. That is definitely one that we're going to be doing. We might get through the other volumes, but at the very least Volume 1 will. But I'm very excited to check this one out, to check out Volume 3, and very excited to get into it before the next season, because apparently there's a bit of crossover stuff for it. And then the last one I picked up with some of my cash was called Something is Killing the Children by James Tynion IV. This is going to be our Indie Comic Book Club book for October. We're going to be doing Invincible. We're meant to do it this month, but it's going to be the start of next month. But for October, kind of as our Halloween book, this is going to be it. Something is Killing the Children. I've heard nothing but amazing stuff about this. Umbrella Academy is phenomenal. I have a Pogo Funko. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I seen they brought out a bunch of Funkos for that. Honestly, I want to get the number 5 one. Him standing holding the coffee cup. But this is like critically acclaimed. It's actually 2020 Best New Series Will Eisner nominee. So like the Eisner Awards, it's actually an Eisner Awards like nominee for Best New Series. I've heard nothing but great stuff about this, nothing but phenomenal stuff about Something is Killing the Children. So I don't want to delve too much into like the blurb of it and what it is, because we'll be doing a lot more of that come October. But this is definitely one. And if you check out our Indie Comic Book Club list that we've got on Amazon, I'm going to be adding it onto there as well. So that was my birthday pickup. Like, kind of just went out, a bunch of stuff I wanted to get, and went all in for it. So, yeah. So, got a good bit of reading there to delve into. Cannot wait to jump into those. It's going to be exciting. Some really awesome stories there that I've not had the chance to check out yet, and I'm excited to get into it. Alright, so let's have a little venture through some of the comics in my actual comic collection, because I just wanted the chance to show some of these off. So when I got my original comic collecting stuff, I only got one long box and I got a bunch of folders to collect stuff in, so a lot of these are in folders, and I do eventually want to go ahead and get another long box to try and reorganize things a little bit. But the first one I want to show off is actually one I got along with Nitro when we went out our last day at the comic shop, and it's actually a variant cover for The Last Ronin from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. Last Ronin, if you don't know, is a special series that they released where it's basically the last turtle story. The story picks up with there's only one of the turtles left alive, and the other 3 are all dead, and it's like basically the last hurrah to like defeat their enemy. I don't think it's a Foot Clan anymore. I think it's kind of evolved into something else at this point. I mean, it's a cert mini series. They are longer issues. I mean, it's a fairly thick like first issue. It was like $8.99 to get this. It's like it was a special edition one. And the reason I picked up this one was specifically because of the artwork. The artwork in the front is actually from Kevin Eastman, the original Turtles creator, and this is actually in the vein of like the original comics and how they were drawn. and him doing original style drawing for The Last Ronin. I won't go into the details of like who the Last Ronin is, who the final turtle is, and stuff like that, who the others have died are, and what's going on with it. But it's a phenomenal series you definitely want to check out. So that was definitely one I wanted to show off, was The Last Ronin. Another one I wanted to show off here was an interesting collector one I got. It's actually a crossover that IDW did for Back to the Future and Transformers. Actually, there's a short miniseries crossover with a new Transformer based on the DeLorean from Back to the Future called Gigawatt. They actually did a limited release of the toy for that in Walmart, which like sold out in, I don't even know if it was minutes. I don't even know if it lasted that long. But I wanted to at least get the cover. They had variant covers and stuff, but the first cover was definitely a favourite for mine. So that's definitely one I wanted to get for the collection. And that's one that's probably going to be going up at the wall at some point as well. Transformers and Back to the Future crossover, which IDW does a lot of that stuff with their properties. They've got a lot of properties that they do crossover stuff with each other, which is kind of cool. So that was an interesting one I found, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm so jealous of everybody that was able to pick up like the actual toy of Gigawatt. I 100% wanted that. So if I ever get money for that, I might go troll eBay at some point and see if I can get it for a good price. This was another one that I found that was interesting to actually pick up. I didn't expect it to be in the comic store when I found it, but it's Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. It's a number 3 from the series run, but this was the Daredevil run from Frank Miller, like legendary comic book artist, one of the legendary Daredevil runs, the Man Without Fear. They set up the definition of who Daredevil is. The definition of Daredevil that's used even in the Netflix TV show comes from stuff like this, the writing of Frank Miller. To find one out in the wild like that, I was not expecting, so I snagged it. I'll be quite happy to keep hunting to see if I can find some more. The cover is, I don't even know what you call it, but the cover, like, it's done almost like that thing because he's blind. It's done almost like a braille thing. Like all the characters here are like, you can feel the bumps of them coming off the page, and you can feel like his sonar sense going through the logo and stuff, like waves of it. So it's really cool done, like style of it. I really like it. So I'll be definitely looking out for more of that one. This one I picked up literally because I had no idea this was even a thing. It's book 4 of 4 in the miniseries, but it's Hook. Like from the movie Hook, it's a comic adaptation of it. Marvel had some property titles at one point, and they were doing adaptations of them. So I was really intrigued to find out that Hook was a comic at one point. It even says like the official movie adaptation. So I seen that was a comic. I'm like, that has to be picked up at some point, like just to the old school of it. You okay?
Yeah, this is hard.
Alright, so I'm not gaming tonight, but my wife is over sitting on her Switch over there, trying to play through Crash Bandicoot 4, and I think it's kind of like driving her crazy at this point. Does it have Rufio in it? I have no idea, to be completely honest. It's an older comic, so I didn't even open it. I literally just rebagged and boarded it to try and keep it in good condition, because it looks like it comes from like the 90s. It came out around about the time of the movie. So when it's about that old, I try and keep it in as good a condition as I can. So in all honesty, I've not even flipped through it. Not to mention the fact of like it's part 4 of 4. I'll maybe flip through them if I actually get the rest. So now we're about to hit on to some of my signed comics. Those were just at the top of the pile there. But this one I got signed, Batman Year 3. You can see signature. Ooh. There of John Beattie, the writer. And this comic I picked up and got signed because John Beattie was part of the team that put this together, but this is actually the introduction of Tim Drake. Tim Drake's first appearance was in this series, Batman Year 3. This is when he takes over and becomes the new Robin. So, excuse me, choking a little bit there. So this one absolutely I wanted to get signed. Have the certificate of authenticity and everything on the back of it. If you're ever getting stuff signed and you can get one of these, 100% get it. It just adds a little bit of legitimacy if you're ever trying to then sell it in the future or something like that. But if anyone doesn't know, like I've said it plenty of times in the show, I love the Robins. I absolutely adore Tim Drake, and so getting his first appearance like that was amazing. I've got a similar one as well. I can't show it off completely on camera because it's up behind me there, like over here, I think. I'm seeing it correctly. It's actually, I've got the Teen Titans, or the new Teen Titans issue where Dick Grayson's first appearance as Nightwing happens in it, but I've got that up on my wall along with other stuff like my number 1 for Big Hero 6 when it was still a Marvel run before Disney took over and made it into a Disney property. I've got a signed Scarlet Spider up there. I've got number 1 of Blue Beetle and Booster Gold up there, so I'll maybe need to take a video and show some of that stuff off like later on, and just show some of the stuff that's up on the wall. Let me see what else I can show up. Signed. Got a few signed pieces. Oh, I also have this signed piece up there of Green Lantern, Green Arrow. The classic cover of Speedy doing drugs on the cover when they went into that whole drug story. And there was a massive thing about that. I actually got it signed by Neil Adams, the artist, and I actually was this close to getting it signed by Denny O'Neil, the writer of it. And I went to a con to try and get him, and unfortunately wasn't able to make the con because I think it was his wife had sickness complications. She might even have passed away, honestly. I feel bad, I can't even remember totally. But yeah, but I got the Neil Adams signature on it at least. Next one I've got is my Marvel Zombies signed cover. Signed by Arthur Sidam, better known as the Zombie King, who does a lot of like zombie variant covers for Marvel. Works on stuff for Marvel Zombies, and this is actually a Marvel Zombies variant of issue number 1, and done in the style of the classic Todd McFarlane Spider-Man pose, where it's him doing the crouch down in front of the webbing, and it's a zombie take on that. So I actually managed to get that signed by him, which was awesome. He's a very eccentric person. It's probably the nicest way I can put that. He's a very eccentric guy. One of the guys that you think, whatever guy you think would be known as the Zombie King, signing stuff at a convention, however unconventional you have that person in your head, you're right. Maybe even more so. Let me see what else we've got here. I've got a few ones. I'm not going to show off everything I've got here, but I've definitely got a few like good covers and stuff here. I've picked up some number 1s. I've picked up like I'm not going to show it off. I got like number 1 for Berserker and a couple of variants for that when we did the giveaway during the 12-hour stream. DC Rebirth number 1. Inhumans number 1, which I picked up because it was when they were pushing Inhumans, and I picked it up in Scotland actually to get it check it out and see what it was like. Pretty cool cover, but they were very much pushing them like the X-Men at the time. Although it might have been a bad thing to have, hold on to it. Maybe one of the last Inhuman series they actually freaking put out. I also got issue 1 of this just because I really liked it from Tom King, the Rorschach's solo issue, a solo book they did with DC Black Label. All honestly, just the fact it was a Rorschach book, I decided it was worth picking up. The cover's actually pretty cool as well, I thought, so I wanted to grab it. So yeah, that's Spider-Man variant for Marvel Zombies. That's the variant. That's the original cover that it's a variant of. This one is still like boarded in its actual packing that I found. This one was an interesting rare find. I'll actually get it back out of the thing. You can tell even by looking at it that it's an older comic. Hey, Lizzie Dixon, good to see you. Looking through old floppy collection. Yeah, doing a little bit of look through the comic collection. Having a bit of a chill out stream. Was not slept well the last couple of nights due to teething baby, so just doing a little bit of a chilled start out streaming. Went through some of the comics I picked up with my birthday money that I got from some family members, so I picked up some trays and I wanted to go through some of the comics I've got. I don't have bags and boards because I want to eventually like rebag this. I actually eventually want to get it up on the wall as well. But it's kind of prevalent with the What If series going on right now. A copy of What If Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four, What If #1. Found. I mean, you can tell it's older. You can tell it's definitely. It's seen some time, but like it was kind of a cool find that came up, and I'm like, I couldn't just leave it there. I mean, that's a really like rare one to find. Okay. Okay, one of the things I've started doing, and I've got quite a few that go with this, is because of the rarity of it now. Like, sounds nice and like a lot of fun, of course, absolutely. Since I started collecting comics recently, I really got into the idea of like wanting to go back and getting stuff that was like Marvel and DC crossover, like with each other, because it's one of those things of like it's not going to happen again, at least, you know, not for a long time. They're both in places like Marvel occasionally does crossover stuff. They're willing to work with people. DC is quite happy to do crossovers, but it seems like they're not going to be doing it with Marvel anytime soon. So basically anything that's like Marvel DC crossover, any of the amalgam stuff, anything like that, I'm all for. I want to get because just it's one of those rarity now. I probably should back and bore some of my books, especially some favourites. None of my vintage comics are in great shape, since I like to read them, but at least I could prevent some further damage. Yeah, just even in between reading them, just having them in the bags and boards is just a good way to kind of protect them so that they don't get more damaged. I mean, by all means, open them and read them if you want. I mean, there's definitely two trains of thought on that, of like either, yeah, bag and board them, don't ever open them. Which I generally do, but like that's because I don't tend to read floppies that much. If I'm getting a series, I want to get like the actual book to go through. But like if you like reading, you know, the single issue stuff, at least bag and board them in between, I would say. And that's just me. So first of all, like as I was saying, like Marvel and DC did a bunch of crossover stuff. So the first ones I've got like DC versus Marvel Comics #1. And then the next one I was able to find was DC vs Marvel Comics #4. So I do need to find 2 and 3 from that series, but I've got 1 and 4 at least of their crossover. I desperately want to find amalgam stuff, but finding amalgam stuff is freaking hard. The only one I ever found was Assassins. Everywhere I check, it's like it's impossible to find. But those are ones I would love to get. But there's another series, and I had the pleasure of finding a whole bunch of them together, and I think there was even more, and I could only afford so many. But there was actually a series that Stan Lee did for. Oh, nice, crossovers are great. Yeah, absolutely. That Stan Lee did for DC, and it was called Just Imagine. And it's like Stan Lee reimagining the DC universe and telling new tales and stories about them. So I picked up a few of these. So like first of all, got the Stan Lee's Superman, where he's kind of more like a Green Lantern kind of. He's a bit more like an interplanetary cop sort of thing. So I'm just looking to grab stuff. I've got something coming through my headphones. I don't know where it's from. Why am I getting noises? I shouldn't be getting noises. There's nothing playing. So he's done this for a few characters. He's done like a whole bunch of stuff. I also got his take on Green Lantern, who's like one of the main characters in his like retelling of the DC universe. his version of the Flash. And then because it's got all of them, I managed to get his version of the JLA, the Justice League of America. And then he did a whole bunch of other ones as well, like Aquaman and Batman, and even did like Sandman. He did a Crisis event for them, and all this stuff. Like, they all are contained in their own universe, but just the fact that it's Stan Lee doing like the DC universe, I'm like, that's a cool thing that's not going to happen again. And the stories aren't amazing. You know, it's like, I love Stan Lee bits. I am a massive Stan Lee guy. I mean, like, our freaking subs are called the Stan Clan. We show the Stan Lee Funko. But as an amazing a creator as he is, as responsible as he is for the comic book writing stuff, his writing is definitely, you can tell, the dated. And it's like, it's one thing to go back and read stuff from the 60s. It's another thing to read like modern stuff with Stan trying to tell it. And it's like, comics have definitely evolved since then. Absolutely, I love Stan Lee, but it's like, yeah, it's not the best stuff. Yeah, it's like, I heard of them out of the blue, and I'm like, as soon as I heard about them, I'm like, I need to get those. It's like, it's just awesome. I'm not going to go through all of them and open the bags up now, but they actually have a double cover, so like, I can actually flip it over and show off the other cover. Oh, this was a nice little one I picked up. This is kind of older as well, like the What If story, but it's the original X Factor #1. Like, when X Factor as a book came out, it was actually following like the rebuilding of the X-Men, and they shuffled in a whole bunch of new characters after Giant Size X-Men, like Wolverine and all that stuff, and Storm had been brought in. And the original X Factor was actually the bringing together of the original 5 X-Men: Cyclops, Jean, Iceman, Beast, and Angel, and they came back as a team. So that was like the original launching point for X Factor. So I actually found the #1 for that, which was it was like, heck yeah. I mean, that was one of those things, like, for an X-Men fan, I'm like, yeah, that's one to definitely snag. Let's see. Alright, I think that's it. That folder. Got one more folder. I'll put these ones back in later when I've got time. I've only got so much room in my desk. So a lot of these were like my variant cover stuff in this folder. So there's a cool few variants in here, but nothing that I'm desperately going to show off or anything. That's kind of cool. Okay, so here's the ones I wanted to show off with this one. That's what I was getting here. So I think Nitro and I have talked about these ones on the show before. Huge fans of Jim Lee and his telling of and his artwork. I picked up Amazon, which is a cross between Wonder Woman and Storm. Oh, nice! I'm glad. Do you know what one from Amalgam I really want to pick up, ads? There's two that really caught my eye, and I can't seem to get them in my head. One of them, I adore the idea of it. It's Speed Demon. It's a combination of the Flash and Ghost Rider, and I love it just because it's the epitome of doing something crazy with Amalgam. Because I've heard people pitching Amalgam stuff, and I literally heard someone saying, "Oh, putting these characters together makes sense," and I'm like like putting Captain America and Superman together. I'm like, nah, it's just the same character pretty much. The all American hero sort of thing. It's like, if you're going to do Amalgam, do something crazy like that. Storm and Wonder Woman. Yeah, let's see what happens. Like, Speed Demon, throw together Flash and Ghost Rider. Why not? Lobo the Duck. Howard the Duck and Lobo is a crossover and Amalgam, and it's like, that's amazing. But yeah, so this was one I need to get. It's like, I want to get these put up on my wall at some point. I need to find frames that I can join them with. And it's the X-Men #1, like Jim Lee like joining cover. I've got all 4. This is eventually I want to get a camera over this side of my desk so I can like show off stuff like all joined together. But I've got all 4 of these, and they all like join together. They're all adjoining covers, and it's probably the most classic X-Men CD, like X-Men look, X-Men covers that anyone has seen. Everyone knows them, and I love to get a thing I can put the 4 comics side by side. Can't get them back in the thing now. But it's like, it's just one of those. Seen Speed Demon on Amazon for $12.50. Yeah. Yeah, and I thought about that, and like you can find them and stuff like on Amazon, on eBay, and stuff like that. And I've definitely thought about doing that at some point with some of them. But there is something also about finding them out in the wild that is kind of nice. You laughing at me over that?
Out in the wild?
Yeah, I've literally said that already today as well. Well, he's laughing at me, saying that out in the wild. But I want to get a frame where I can get those adjoining X-Men covers, just because like they're meant to be together. So I would absolutely adore that. And then I've also got another set of adjoining covers. These are exclusives from Slab City Comics in the UK that I actually ordered while I was over here and had them shipped to me. But it's for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for issues like I think it was 101 to 106. They done like a variant cover for each one. They all are joined together, and it's all the turtles. So it's like a rooftop scene, and they're really cool. Like virgin covers, there's no writing or anything on them. It's just the artwork. For each of them. That was Mickey. That's Raphael. Leonardo. Donatello. And then this is the 5th turtle that's in the comics. If you don't read the comics, you might not know her. Yannicka. It's a female turtle. She's got like the claws and a bow and arrow that she uses as her weaponry. So it's like an adjoining cover with the 5 of them, which I think the artwork on it is just stunning, personally. So it's like I want to kind of like the same with the X-Men covers. I want to get adjoining covers put together in a frame. I just need to find a frame that would actually do it and look okay, and not like cause the comics to get damaged or anything. So those are ones that I definitely want to get as well. Show this one off. I absolutely love this one. I love a lot of the Daredevil stuff, and I've got an amazing Daredevil piece just behind me up here. From Tedesco. Also, yeah, basically a version of Shredder with those. Up here is a really beautiful piece from one of Chip Zdarsky's runs, but I also picked up this piece, which is a variant that I really liked. The artwork's interesting on it, but I really liked because it showed like the different versions of Daredevil. Going into the all new, all different Marvel stuff, and I really liked it personally. Let's see. I think that's most of the stuff in here. Alright, so we're mostly through that, so it's just the long box left. Give me a sec. I can't lift it at that angle. Just trying to move it nearer me. It's not happening. Alright, so let's see. I've definitely got some here as well to show. Just because I love the Robin showing off the Nightwing #1 from his pre-New 52 run. Beautiful little piece. Back to the Turtles a little bit with my Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 crossover. So I've got like the original Secret Wars run of the Renew Your Vows from Spider-Man. So like that original run, and I got the first couple of issues of the series that they did for a little bit, because I just absolutely adore that cover. All four Spider-Man and Mary Jane being together, so I want to show that off. Absolutely. As most of you know as well, I'm a huge Booster Gold fan. I've got the Booster Gold #1, like his original run up there. So I've got one other old school one, but I've also little by little been collecting Jeff Johns' Booster Gold run from like after Final Crisis and before the New 52. So I've got the number 0 and the number 1 I'll show off, but I've got a few more in that series as well, and I've been slowly but surely getting that. Or like, whoa, what is this awesome commemorative wall of comics? Oh, my comics up here? Yeah, that was my idea of how to design this office, like for my stream space, because we took it as a great little space for me, but it's got like a slanted roof, and I'm like, I have no idea how to like display stuff. And I went, you know what, I can get some frames and I can stick them up with Velcro and show off some awesome comics. And if you're liking going through comics, that's what we're doing right now as well. Having a little chill stream talking some comics. But yeah, I'm a massive like Booster Gold fan, so I've got a good chunk of the Jeff Johns run, but I'm still collecting that. Okay, let's see if I can get a good picture to show off of this. So growing up as well, I read a lot of... There was very few comics I could get single issues of, so I got a lot of Image's Brigade. I've got the #1 up on my wall. But that's a random series that I like to collect. It's one of those ones that's like, it means something to me, but like, if you can find the comics, they're usually a buck or two. It's nothing to really write home about, you know? Got the entire Red Hood and Arsenal series. Very underrated duo in DC Comics for a short time. This is a series I'm also collecting bit by bit as well. Still need to get the #1 for it. The greatest race of all time, Superman versus the Flash. I do not actually have that one on lock. I've only been collecting for a few years now, maybe about 4 or 5 years. Just being from Scotland, it was hard to get single issues and stuff and get access to them, so I've only really been building my collection for a short amount of time now. So I found a few interesting pieces over it. So I started trying to hunt Red Robin pieces. As I said, I'm a big fan of the Robins like Nightwing, Red Hood, Tim Drake. Tim Drake got a Red Robin solo series. It's like impossible to find them now, but I've got a few issues of that. Like 4 or 5 of that now. Same with the Scarlet Spider. I've got the #1 signed up there on my wall, but I've got a bunch of the Scarlet Spider stuff. Another one I'm trying to do a collection of. Yeah, and the rest are just others I've picked up here and there, like series I've tried to collect or issues I've tried to collect. I'm not going to go through everything. That's me not almost falling out of my chair. Don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, so that's pretty much a little bit of my collection. Obviously as well, I've got a few that are up in the wall behind me here. It's like kind of hard to show them off on camera. I'll maybe need to do that on our Instagram or something like that, do a live video or do a video recording or something of it. But yeah, so that's a little bit of some of the ones from my collection. Some of the, you know, I've only been collecting for a few years now, but like I think I've got a few interesting pieces. Some of them I've ordered and gotten offline. Other ones I've actually found, which have been really interesting, like finding the What If #1 and stuff. But yeah, I found a few interesting pieces, which has been really kind of cool. Absolutely adore comics, absolutely love everything about them, and it's just been really cool. And it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those enjoyable passions to get to go and start looking through comics and find something that really means something to you, and something that means a lot, you know. But yeah, I don't know if any of you are like comic collectors yourself, or any of you collect the issues, or if you're just fans of the comics or anything like that. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed going through some of that stuff with me. And even if you didn't, thank you for giving me the time to go through it and sit and listen to me ramble about it for a little bit. Oh, thank you, Lizzie. I appreciate that. I'm glad it's been fun to listen. And yeah, got a few interesting pieces out of it. Obviously want to keep adding to the wall behind me and get some more stuff up there. I got some interesting stuff, like I said, my Big Hero 6 #1, I signed like Green Lantern, Green Arrow, the one with Speedy taking drugs on the cover, my Nightwing's first appearance from the New Teen Titans, Booster Gold and Blue Beetle #1, my Spider-Man Renew Your Vows with Stan Lee as the Minister. And as well up there I've also got comics from a lot of the guests that we've had on the podcast and stuff like that. So like I've got the OZ #1 is now up there now that I've read it. Midnight Western Theatre, the signed one we got from Lewis Southard, is up there. Dominion #1 from Dr. Baron Bell's up there. Epics of Enkidu, the signed copy up there from Ahmed Alamin. Got them up added to our wall. It's been great to get to know these amazing creators and get to delve into these comics, and definitely getting a passion for a lot of indie comics and a lot of indie comic stories. And shout out, just as I mentioned, the OZ again, if you guys still want to go and check out the OZ on Kickstarter and want to give it some backing and get yourself some goodies from it as well, it is still live on Kickstarter. It's been up there for a week just, and it's already well over its amount. And if you want to check out the podcast on that, it should be going up some point this week, wherever you can find podcasts, or up on YouTube as well. Just, you know, do a couple of cheap little plugs, because why not? Why not while I've got the opportunity? But all of you have an absolutely amazing night. I am tired. I'm going to go and chill out a little bit and hopefully get some sleep tonight. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for spending some time with us tonight. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for absolutely everything. And Nitro will hopefully see you all tomorrow. Remember, it's a good week to be a geek. Stick with us as we go and raid Mingo. Take care. See y'all later.
Zero Miedo. I got no fear. Zero Miedo.